All right, so we're working on a 2015 WRX with a CVT trans. We're going to do a CVT transmission fluid change. So the drain plug is here on the CVT. The fill plug is here. It's a little bit hard because the mid pipe is in the way here, but that is it right there. So we're going to go remove that. All right, so this is a 10 Allen here. Here's the fluid coming out that looks and smells disgusting. So that's it right there. Then we're gonna let it fully drain out, and then we're gonna hit the pan and then inspect the washer that's still there. So as the fluid is draining out, which looks completely disgusting by the way, I always do the fill plug first. The reason is that from my personal experience, not on this car particularly, but just in general, I actually had a car that had a cross-drilled fill plug, and I went to go drain it and didn't realize it. So I always do the fill plug first because old fluid is better than not having any fluid. So we're gonna let this completely drain, and then we're gonna go fill it up. Transmission fluid, we're using multiple CVTF. Now the one thing that I do want to mention is that Subaru actually has 2 different CVT fluids, or 3 CVT fluids I think. And so what you got to remember is that you have to make sure that the fluid that you use is going to be good for Subaru high torque. And then so if you look here, you can see that the fluid is good for Subaru high torque CVT. So high torque CVT and regular CVT are 2 different fluids. High torque, to my understanding, only comes on the turbo models like the Forester STs and obviously the WRXs. All right, so I filled it up. I'd say maybe about 3.5 quarts so far, give or take, and it's starting to drip out of the fill, so that's what we want. So we're gonna leave this cap open, and we actually have to start the car. And so you can see right here I'm measuring the temp on the pan, and it's 115, so the temp that you really want is going to be 93 to 115, so I'm right on the edge. Now that the transmission is up to temp, we're going to go to all through the gears. And then we're going to go back. So with the car running, after you go through all the gears, you just basically add fluid to it till it spills out. What's really gross is that you can see that even though I put fresh fluid in the pan, that's the old fluid coming out. So we're gonna let this completely drain out while the car's running, and then we're gonna snake the plug back in. Just be very careful. Obviously the car's running, so it's gonna be extremely hot. So after everything's said and done, I ended up going through basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 quarts of the CVT fluid. So, and as you saw at the very end, the fluid that still came out after the pump inside the transmission was running, you can see that that fluid was really gross. So what's going to happen is what I like to do, instead of doing a complete, like just flushing it, I like to do, like, what I'll end up doing is 2 engine oil changes, and then on that second engine oil change, I'll go ahead and I'll do this whole process again. And then I'll keep doing that until the fluid actually looks pretty good. So I think the total capacity inside the transmission is somewhere like, it's north of like 12 fluids, I think, total. Don't quote me on that, but so it is quite a bit. And remember, the fresh fluid that we put in, it's going to mix with the old fluid and it's going to get dirty. So we're just going to keep doing that every other engine oil change, and then until our fluid actually starts to look decent. So I actually thought it was 6.5. So when I was cleaning up my mess, I noticed that a lot of the bottles had some left over in them, and so I put them all together, and so I'm maybe at 5.5. So this is maybe a little bit more than half, but yeah, so